Coming up next, the story of an enchanted land where joy fills the air and troubles fade away in the rain. A place where everybody is happy and kind and the light of human spirit shines brightly for all to share. Actually, this song title is over 5,000 years old, and it was recorded at the same time by two different artists who released their songs at the same time. See who won the battle on the charts. So let's travel back together on the road to the mythical paradise and inspired a timeless feel-good classic that is illegal not to sing along to, just a feel-good song. Coming up next on Professor of Rock. Hey music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. You know, if you remember losing your hard-earned dollars to try and get a stuffed animal out of the dreaded claw machine, you're going to dig this channel of deep musical nostalgia. Make sure to subscribe below right now. We also have a Patreon. You're going to want to check that out. There you'll find an additional catalog of exclusive content, and you can even become an honorary producer to help us curate this music history. How does your light shine? Regardless of religious beliefs, I love the philosophy that we as human beings emit light. The light shines brighter depending on how we interact with others. Avoid trappings that dim your light, such as envy and ego or fear. A person's light shines bright when they treat others with respect, compassion, and kindness. Such was the spiritual philosophy that inspired Shambala, a song that became the 8th top 5 hit record for Three Dog Night in 1973. Man, Three Dog Night, they were brilliant interpreters of song. Cory Wells, Danny Hutton, and Chuck Negron, they truly had a unique gift for identifying a diamond in the rough, an obscure song that either flopped or was completely passed over, and then they would just spin it into gold. The trio, they did it over and over and over again during their domination of the pop singles chart from 1969 through 1974, outselling almost every artist in those years, including the Beatles. A quick recap. Some of the most successful Three Dog Night adaptations were one by Harry Nilsson, who wrote the song shortly after he quit his job as a computer operator at a bank. Covered that one a few years back. Mama Told Me Not to Come, by another relative unknown writer at the time named Randy Newman, that was revamped into a #1 single in 1970. Of course, they reimagined folk singer Hoyt Axton's tune Joy to the World. They took that one to #1 in 1971. And after several others, Three Dog Night did it again in 1973 with an inspired rendition of Daniel Moore's composition Shambala. For Daniel Moore, the road to writing Shambala began during a phone conversation with his brother Matthew. Matthew called Daniel to tell him about an interesting revelation that was bestowed upon him in a letter sent to him by a spiritual advisor named Dorothy Begg. In this letter, which was a response to a query that Matthew had sent to the mystic, Dorothy wrote about reincarnation and revealed to Matthew whom he had been in his past lives. The letter ended with a cryptic passage, "Let your light shine in the halls of Shambala." So after reading the passage to his brother, Matthew asked in surprise, "Shambala, what the hell is that?" Daniel was fascinated by the word Shambala, not knowing anything about it at that time. It just had a really cool, magical ring to it. Shambala. The word Shambala became an obsession for Daniel. He recalled calling his musician friend Eddie Zipp and suggested that he put a band together and then call them Shambala. So it was first going to be a band. But then Daniel went into intensive research mode and he found many references for the word Shambala. He actually discovered that the history of Shambala went back some 5,000 years and originated from Sanskrit. The reference that really stuck with him was how Shambala was used in the book Treatise on White Magic by Alice Bailey. This book essentially describes a vast cavern beneath the Gobi Desert, housing replicas of every evolving human being. As these replicas begin to illuminate or glow, indicating spiritual growth or heightened consciousness, a spiritual teacher is dispatched once they reach a certain level of brightness. After grasping the essence of Shambala, Daniel swiftly penned both the lyrics and the melody in a flash of inspiration while he was cruising down Interstate 101 in Southern California, the famous Ventura Freeway taking just about 10 minutes to write down. As he formulated the lyrics in his head, he would sing them out loud to get a feel for how to structure this song. Upon returning home, he effortlessly translated the melodies in his head onto his acoustic Martin guitar, finalizing the music in a mere 15 minutes. Daniel's lyrics delved into the lore of the legendary kingdom of Shambala, a mystical realm believed to be concealed amidst the Himalayan peaks, actually. References to Shambala abound in ancient texts like the Kalachakra, Tantra, and Tibetan Buddhist scriptures, to name a few. Shambala encapsulates a realm where kindness and cooperation reign supreme, where joy and prosperity flourish, and where psychological burdens are effortlessly shed. The expressions in the halls of Shambala and on the road to Shambala are prominently featured throughout the lyrics of the song. The latter phrase likely hints at Shambala not merely as a tangible location, but rather as a symbol of the spiritual journey one embarks upon. But, regardless of one's belief in any of the subjects of the composition of this song is as feel-good as it gets. I mean, you can't help but belt it out whenever it comes on the radio. Like many of the songs Three Dog Night transformed into monster pop hits, Shambala was disregarded by the initial round of record industry gatekeepers. Now, the first recording of the track was by Texas-born B.W. Stevenson. This was in late February 1973 and was released as a single 2 weeks before the Three Dog Night version came out. Now, there's some controversy as to which version came first, but it's generally acknowledged that B.W. Stevenson's version led the way. Everyone is kind on the road to Shambala. But here's what happened. According to most accounts, the song was initially offered exclusively to Stevenson after being turned down by ABC Dunhill. However, as Stevenson's single began gaining traction on the charts, Three Dog Night released their rendition and it obliterated Stevenson's recording in record sales. Like that. Stevenson's Shambala sold a respectable 125,000 units in the first month of its release. But Three Dog Night, they had a bona fide international stature at that time. They quickly overshadowed Stevenson's Shambala and became one of the hottest selling singles in America. Eventually, it would sell over 1.3 million units. You still hear it on the radio. Wash away my troubles. B.W. Stevenson's slightly shorter rendition entered the charts at number 96, and later it climbed to number 66. It had some momentum. This was by the week of June 9th. It also made its mark on the U.S. Adult Contemporary chart, reaching number 31. Often categorized as country pop or country rock, B.W. Stevenson's version stands out with his twangy steel string acoustic guitar, his southern accent, and American folk music vibe. That's what set it apart from the more widely recognized Three Dog Night rendition. Interestingly, in South Africa, Stevenson's version achieved a higher chart position than Three Dog Night. It went to number 8 compared to Three Dog Night's number 13 showing. Now, Daniel Moore had nothing to do with the really shameless move that ABC Dunhill made that blew B.W. Stevenson's version of Shambala out of the water. Daniel submitted his demo to ABC Dunhill, and they didn't care for it, like I said, and that's why it fell to B.W. Stevenson. But when Shambala caught the attention of Three Dog Night through publisher Lindy Blasky, then at ABC Dunhill Publishing, the label did a complete 180. Blasky was ecstatic about Three Dog Night's interest in recording that song, so Blasky contacted Daniel and made him aware of the positive feedback from Three Dog Night and their producer, Richie Podler. Again, Three Dog Night was one of the biggest bands in the world at that time, so this was good news in a way. The news was bittersweet. I mean, he was naturally excited about a supergroup, one of the biggest bands out there, that was going to record his song, but he also felt bad for B.W. Stevenson. Find out how he made it up to him after we mention our sponsor, Zenni Eyewear, the glasses that I always wear on here. Right now, you can get up to 80% off regular retail prices with Zenni on most of their eyewear. And with summer coming, you know you need some sunglasses or some transition lenses that go light to dark or dark to light. Change up your look by clicking on our info button right up here. Zenni Eyewear is something for everybody out there.
Wash away my pain with the rain in Shambala.
So the way that Daniel made it up to BW was that he gave him another of his compositions to record. It was a song that he had that was sitting on his shelf for about 2 years, and it was called My Maria. My Maria. BW, an abbreviation for his given name Buckwheat, was grateful to have a shot at recording My Maria, but he thought the song was a little too bubblegum. So with Daniel's permission, he tweaked the lyrics a bit, adding the sing-along chorus, My Maria, oh Maria, I love you, girl, oh my Maria. BW actually he took a page out of the Three Dog Night playbook and he shaped an overlooked song into a hit record. My Maria went all the way to number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100. It went to number 7 in Canada and number 1 on the AC charts. In 1973, it would be the signature hit of his career. Brooks and Dunn's 1996 cover of My Maria was a massive success in the country genre as well, reaching the top spot on the Billboard Country chart and earning the title of Billboard's Country Song of the Year. Additionally, their rendering actually climbed to number 79 on the pop charts as well. After all of the success of the track, Daniel admitted that he probably would never have finished My Maria had it not been for BW's assistance. At the point that he presented the song to BW, its future, it was really uncertain. Daniel had been working on the track for 2 years, like I said, and it wasn't going anywhere. Without BW's belief in the song, he would have missed out on what ended up being the most fruitful composition of Daniel Moore's career. And even though this is a little bit of a tangent, in a roundabout way, it was Three Dog Night that inspired BW to approach My Maria with a new take, and he got the song in the first place because he was beat out by Three Dog Night, which led to him getting the song in the first place. An interesting turn of events for sure, and it's usually how it goes in the music industry. Danny Hutton and Cory Wells founded Three Dog Night in 1968. They recruited Chuck Negron as their third lead singer after meeting him at a Hollywood party. The trio collaborated with the Beach Boys' Brian Wilson, recording demos under the name Redwood at that point. Despite producing a potential single, Time to Get Alone, Beach Boys member Mike Love decided to reserve that song for their next album, so they lost out on that. But during their heyday, Three Dog Night was really the work of 7 musicians. In addition to the core trilogy of Wells, Negron, and Hutton, there was Mike Alsop on guitar, Jimmy Greenspoon on keyboards, Jackie Ryland on bass, and Floyd Sneed handled drums. Like I said, a supergroup for sure. So a little known fact is that unheralded studio singer Donna Gaines provided background vocals on many Three Dog Night songs in 1973, including Shambala. And then a few years later, the world would know Donna Gaines as the superstar Donna Summer. How about that? On Three Dog Night's definitive version of Shambala, I tell you what, the light shone brightly for Cory Wells. Man, he delivered a divine, soulful, and spiritual lead vocal on this track. The choice for Cory to deliver the lead vocal on Shambala between the 3 vocalists of Three Dog Night, that was truly an inspired decision.
Everyone is so kind on the road to Shambala.
Cory Wells, originally named Emil Lewandowski, he came from Buffalo, New York. After serving in the Air Force following high school, he returned to the U.S. and started playing in local bands. In the mid-'60s, he relocated to Los Angeles and joined the group The Enemies. Cory made appearances with The Enemies on TV shows like The Beverly Hillbillies, Burke's Law, Riot on Sunset Strip, and even shared the screen with Paul Newman in the film Harper. Wells moved to Phoenix in 1967, where he formed the Cory Wells Blues Band. In 1968, Wells returned to Hollywood, where he couch surfed, unsure of what to do with his career. It was Danny Hutton who convinced him of the feasibility of forming a group with 3 lead singers and a backup band. And of course, that ultimately led to the addition of Chuck Negron to see their plan come to fruition. In the vibrant world of 70s rock music and beyond, Cory Wells stood out for his clean and wholesome lifestyle. He steered clear of the vices, alcohol, cigarettes, drugs. He preferred the simple pleasures of early morning spent fishing. Despite being a rock star, his idea of partying was hitting the hay early and rising at 4 a.m. Cory's daughter Dawn shared that promoting alcohol was a strict no-no for her dad, even if it meant losing out on lucrative deals, which he did. Given that he was so straight-laced, it's ironic that Cory executed the lead vocal on Three Dog Night's first #1 single, Mama Told Me Not to Come. I was thinking about that. It's a song about a guy ignoring his mother's advice to stay away from a wild party. Cory delivered the line, "This is the craziest party that could ever be. Don't turn on the lights because I don't want to see." It was as if he was giving us a blow-by-blow account of the spectacle that he was witnessing. Cory performed the perfect narrative for Mama Told Me Not to Come, just like he did on Shambala. Despite his heartthrob status among fans, Cory remained devoted to his wife of 50 years, whom he had known since she was just 12 years old. In his later years, Cory still toured with Danny as Three Dog Night, even though at that point it was kind of Two Dog Night. But when he was off tour, he cherished privacy and anonymity. He opted to meld seamlessly into his community instead of seeking the spotlight at all. He actively avoided being seen as a celebrity, making every effort to be treated simply as a regular member of his neighborhood. Although Cory Wells dedicated much of his life to music and to Three Dog Night, he was also deeply committed to his family. And he had a passion for fishing. He even made television appearances on programs like The American Sportsman, where he filmed episodes in New Zealand and the Amazon. Additionally, Cory took part in charity fishing tournaments across the United States. Fans were shocked when Cory was the first of the Three Dog Night principals to pass away, since he was arguably the most health conscious of the trio. He was diagnosed with a form of blood cancer, and he died in 2015 at the age of 74. Now, I know I mentioned this recently with Dan Fogelberg and both frontmen of the Cars. Same thing with Cory Wells, though. When Cory Wells passed, it wasn't covered at all. The media virtually ignored it, as has the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They've done that with Three Dog Night, even though they were one of the biggest bands of the late 60s and early 70s, really early 70s, mid 70s. Cory had such a cool voice, and it really makes his feel-good song shine, as the song says. Cory Wells, he was so full of light. He deserved better in terms of accolades and recognition. The music is certainly the evidence, the songs he sang on for sure. Cory is survived by his wife of 50 years, Mary Wells, along with 2 daughters and 5 grandchildren. His love for fishing led him to Dunkirk, New York, where he finally found his dream home on the lakefront. For the first time, Cory was able to launch his boat named Shambala, directly from his own property. A true fisherman's paradise for sure. Shambala was the first song that Three Dog Night specifically cut as a single, instead of being a track on an album project. The song was included on Scion, Three Dog Night's 10th studio LP in October of '73. It was the 8th single for Three Dog Night to make the top 5, rising to number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100. It was also a number 4 single in Canada, number 13 in South Africa, number 17 in Austria, and it shot to number 1 in New Zealand. Oh man, growing up, this was one of my dad's favorite songs. He would howl the chorus. He'd sing it to the top of his lungs, and he always gouged me to sing it right along with him. I know this song by heart because of that. Three Dog Night was really one of his favorite groups, along with the Beatles and the Animals and CCR and Crosby, Stills and Nash. I remember he would always tell me, who cares what the critics say? It's all about how the music hits you in your heart and in your soul, how it makes you feel. I now sing this song with just tears of joy in tribute to my dad. I gotta tell you, Three Dog Night did justice to the spiritual significance of Daniel Moore's Shambala. The powerful three-part harmony in the chorus of Wells, Hutton, and Negron gave their version a roaring celestial glory, honoring the legendary kingdom of peace, love, and prosperity as a timeless rock classic. In the fullness of time, Shambala, the song of the mystic Tibetan tradition, it lights the soul, bringing a message of tranquility and eternal bliss. In the Guinness Book of World Records, in the category of prophecies, there's a note about Shambala stating that anyone who promotes the name Shambala will be rewarded 100-fold. In other words, keep singing that glorious hook of this Three Dog Night feel-good classic, and your light will truly shine. Thanks so much for watching. Leave us a comment about this incredible song. I love this song. It's such a feel-good song, and about Three Dog Night. Man, these guys were so underappreciated. Another one, besides the Guess Who, that I'm going to promote is the next group that needs to be nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Let's have a great discussion, your memories, and till next time, 3 chords and the truth, my friends. Don't forget to subscribe.